Hey everyone, how's it going? I've got another intriguing story to share with you all today. This one revolves around a charming guy named Holden who returns home after finishing his studies. The moment he steps through the door, he unexpectedly finds his stunning stepmother, Lana, in the nude. This encounter leaves Holden captivated, and he can't stop thinking about her. He makes several attempts to win her over and flirt with her, and eventually his efforts pay off. They both end up falling for each other and getting intimate whenever they can. However, things take a turn for the worse when Holden's dad finds out about their relationship. So, let's dive into the story right away. It kicks off with Holden running from someone, and soon we find him at a police station where he explains that he just graduated from university. Then the narrative takes us back to when he first got home. His stepmother is thrilled to see him, and after a quick catch-up, Holden heads to his room. But he hears some commotion coming from the bathroom, so he checks it out and is taken aback to see a gorgeous woman without any clothes. He's smitten instantly, apologizes, and quickly shuts the door. Just then, his dad, Mason, walks in, excited to see Holden. Mason introduces him to the same woman, revealing that she's his second wife, Lana, Holden's stepmom. This revelation leaves Holden in shock. Later that night, the three of them head to a party. Mason, a wealthy businessman, introduces Holden to his lawyer, Harry, before taking him around to meet other guests. Meanwhile, Lana and Holden strike up a conversation, and when she asks about his past relationships, he opens up. In a surprising twist, Lana leans over to whisper something to Harry, which makes Mason visibly upset, but he keeps his cool. Lana introduces Holden to a girl named Nicole at the party, and Nicole really takes a liking to him. As the night goes on, Holden and Lana start dating. He ends up buying a super pricey necklace at an auction and wears it proudly. Later, the four of them, Lana, Mason, Holden, and Harry, hang out at Mason's place. When Harry leaves, Mason gets really upset with Lana for getting too close to him and even questions if she's having an affair. Lana reassures Mason that there's nothing going on, but Holden isn't a fan of Mason's attitude at all. The next morning, Holden asks Lana if she's happy with Mason. This might be because Mason treated Holden's mom the same way, and when she got sick, he divorced her, which led to her passing away from heartbreak. Mason calls them over to show off his new expensive car, but makes it clear that Holden can't drive it without asking first. Soon after, Mason gets called away for an important meeting, so Lana and Holden decide to take the car for a spin without permission, thinking they can park it back before Mason returns. Lana takes Holden to her favorite bar, but when they get there, it's closed. Luckily, she knows where the owner keeps the keys, so she unlocks the door and they sneak in for some drinks. When the owner shows up, they quickly hide, and once he leaves, things heat up between them, leading to a late return home. The next morning, Mason is furious when he sees the car parked outside. At breakfast, Holden notices a bruise on Lana's arm just before Mason arrives and starts asking questions. After breakfast, Mason and Holden play football, and Mason ends up beating him. He punches Holden and tells him he's banned from using the car again. Lana sees everything unfold later that night when Holden walks into the kitchen. I'm there too, and Lana tells me to forget about whatever went down between her and Holden. But then Holden gets close to her, and they end up getting cozy again in his room. The next morning, Lana heads to the bathroom, and Mason walks into Holden's room asking if he's seen her. Holden plays it cool and says he hasn't seen her at all. Once Mason leaves, Holden makes a quick exit too. Lana slips out of Holden's room, and Mason doesn't catch her leaving. Later that night, Nicole shows up at Holden's place for dinner, and Mason runs into her. While they're all hanging out, Holden mentions he wants to be an architect, which sets Mason off. He tells Holden to ditch that idea and stick to business. Holden feels pretty down about Mason's reaction, but keeps his cool. Afterward, he and Nicole head out for dinner, which was supposed to be a date. But when they get back, Holden's still in a funk because he doesn't want Mason running his life. Later in the kitchen, Lana tells Holden that he and Nicole look great together, but he insists he's not into Nicole or his dad's business and plans to leave. Lana won't let him go and kisses him to change his mind. The next day, Mason and Holden go hunting, and when Holden gets the chance to take a shot at Mason, he decides against it and puts the gun down. The following day, while Mason is working out, Holden makes him his favorite juice, and they sit down to chat. Mason mentions that he suspects Lana might be seeing someone else, but he's determined to find out who it is. Holden starts to feel anxious after hearing the news, and eventually decides to meet Lana at the farmhouse. He spills everything to her, explaining that if he sticks around, Mason will definitely catch on to their affair, so he needs to leave right away. Even though Lana wants to push him away, she can't bring herself to do it. They end up getting intimate one last time. Later that night, Holden finds himself alone in the room, and when he wakes up, Lana is gone. He heads back home, but as soon as he steps inside, he's hit with chaos. Stuff is all over the place, and Mason's lifeless body is just a few feet away. Panic sets in, and he quickly calls the police. During the investigation, when asked about his whereabouts, Holden claims he was at the movies, while Lana says she was with Nicole. Once the investigation wraps up, Harry informs them that the police have sealed their house for 3 days so they can crash at his place. That night, Holden sees a chance and sneaks into Lana's room to ask her about Mason. He inquires about the murder, especially since Lana had broken things off. She reveals that Nicole recorded an intimate video of them and is now demanding $100,000. Fearing that Harry might catch them, she kicks Holden out of the room. The next day, Harry suggests that Lana might have killed Mason for his money. When Holden confronts Lana about it, she ends up killing him instead. She starts pointing fingers at Holden for the crime, and soon they're both eyeing each other with suspicion. After a while, they head home, and Holden confesses to Lana that he couldn't stand Mason. He claims Mason wronged his mom and treated Lana the same way. Lana quickly defends herself, saying Mason never hurt her, and that the mark on her hand was just from working out. The next day, Lana plans to meet Nicole, and Holden tries to follow her to catch Nicole, but Lana won't let him. Instead, she bolts with Nicole, which makes Holden realize that Lana is definitely in on something with Nicole and might be the one who killed Mason. So he goes to Harry and shows him a private video of him and Lana spilling everything. Harry tells him that after Mason died, the property would go solely to Holden, meaning Lana wouldn't gain anything from Mason's death, but he could still be a suspect regarding the property. When Harry asks what happened, Holden explains that after they were intimate, he fell asleep and woke up to find Lana gone. This makes Harry think that Lana might be trying to seduce Holden. After their chat, Holden gets home and checks Lana's purse, discovering a bunch of cash and a gun. This freaks him out. Lana starts to get suspicious of him too, but then she shows up wearing Mason's necklace and explains that she kept the gun for safety because she's meeting Nicole to give her the money as part of their deal. Holden isn't buying what Lana's saying, so he decides to tail her. As he steps out, he hears some strange noises coming from the garage, so he goes to check it out. On the car, he finds a note addressed to him, claiming that he took his own life out of guilt over Mason's death. This revelation hits Holden hard, making him realize that the person who killed Mason is now after him too. Suddenly, the lights go out, and Lana bursts into the garage with a gun, firing shots. Holden manages to dodge her and grabs her, demanding the truth. Lana responds, saying she thought a thief had broken in, which leaves Holden baffled. After apologizing to her, he heads to the police, and we see a flashback to the beginning. When the cops discover that Holden lied in his initial statement, they arrest him. A few days later, Nicole shows up at the station and spills the beans, revealing that the blackmail video was all Lana's idea. She explains that they were in a relationship, and after Mason's death, Lana planned to kill Holden next so they could be together. But Nicole had fallen for someone else and didn't want to go through with it. This clears Holden, and the police let him go. Later, Harry informs Holden that Mason actually died from poison. Lana only hurt him. That night, Holden discovers Mason lying motionless, and soon after, Nicole arrives and unexpectedly kisses him. It's revealed that Holden and Nicole share a deep history, having known each other since childhood. Together, they had orchestrated Mason's demise. The juice Holden offered Mason was secretly laced, and after his passing, Nicole took decisive action. While Lana was in the garage, Holden confronted her, rendering her unconscious. Nicole then stepped in to carry out Holden's instructions to deal with Lana. The situation escalated, and Lana was critically harmed during the encounter. Later, Holden and Nicole searched for Lana at a nearby cliff, only to find her necklace, leading them to assume she had fallen. However, back at home, Lana unexpectedly confronted Holden, and in the chaos that followed, Holden was injured and fled to a nearby hill. The authorities, arriving on the scene, tragically mistook the situation and intervened. In the end, Holden and Nicole, free of repercussions, chose to leave their past behind. They reunited and embarked on a carefree vacation, living in the moment and enjoying their time together. If you enjoyed this story, remember to like and share it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thrilling tales, and we'll see you in the next video.